I've had a lot going on personally for me the last year, but specifically since our last episode, and it has been difficult to do our pods, and I miss them. I miss sitting down and talking to you just one on one and getting our dad and son time, and I miss getting to know guests and really kind of pushing that limit of who we can interview and how deep we can get and the stories we're able to share. So I'm now making a concerted effort that, yeah, whether or not we have a guest or not, we will continue to have our podcast together, because whether or not we got a guest, we could still get it going.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello, Max. We're back podcasting. It's 2023, January 15th, 14th.
I'm not sure that exact date, but we are back. We're in a different studio.
Yep.
YouTube audience, as you can see, we are in my living room. You could also see the kitchen. Apologies if this is a bit, too much, but we're comfortable.
Our worldwide audience may be looking at your background and trying to figure out what your tastes are, and because we've been broadcasting from my office, right?
Yeah.
So they've seen my aesthetic. Now they're going to get to see a little bit of
It's
yours.
a limited view. You see the upper half of the couch and one piece of art. So don't be judging at all on this picture. But we're back, Dad.
We are back, and we were trying to figure out when we were last on the last podcasting.
It was Chris Hagar, great episode, but I mean, it had to have been, I want to say 6 months ago, give or take.
Yeah, it was during the MLS season, right? Kind of in the middle, early part of the MLS season. So that's probably late summer, maybe.
Yeah, it was, long story short, it was a while ago. And
it's been a minute, as you guys like to say. You're Jen.
It's been a minute. And, I think this is overdue for a lot of reasons. I think part of our podcasting, whether or not we had a guest there or not, it was a form of, therapy in some sense, in that we were just, it was a lot of talking, and we explored a lot of really real topics, about mental health, careers, life, really. We open up a box in these episodes, and I'll speak for myself. I've had a lot going on personally for me the last year, but specifically since our last episode, and it has been difficult to do our pods, and I miss them. I miss sitting down and talking to you just one on one and getting our dad and son time, and I miss getting to know guests and really kind of pushing that limit of who we can interview and how deep we can get and the stories we're able to share. So I'm now making a concerted effort that, yeah, whether or not we have a guest or not, we will continue to have our podcast together, because whether or not we got a guest, we could still get it going.
Well, I'd like to think that a guest is optimal, but we don't need a guest. I think we have stuff to talk about that hopefully our audience would be interested in. I think so.
Yeah.
And I'll share your sentiments on two fronts. Number one, I really miss doing the podcast because it's time with my son, which is, when you're a father, you'll realize it's precious, and it's something I really enjoy, just sitting down and doing something with you. There aren't that many things we do together, right? Because we're doing different things in our lives, and we don't live together. So this is our chance to spend some time together. It's fun for me. I have a very routinized life. My life is work, particularly in the era of Zoom, where I'm not traveling a whole lot to the office. I'm spending, most of my days in my office on the Zoom doing my mediations, and my life is pretty routine. It's not a routine life, but it's I have a routine. So the podcast was something for me that was something different, that broke me out of my routine, that introduced me to new people. And so I missed that aspect of it. And I agree with you that to a large extent, talking to other people about their lives and what's going on in their lives is a form of therapy for us.
Yeah.
Because we get to explore different things. And I think maybe more so for you than for me, but definitely there is a therapeutic aspect of sharing stories.
Yeah. No, I think it's like that for both of us. I think just in general, the ability to connect with new people. That's like, I think it's talked about a little bit in the recent Jonah Hill documentary with his therapist, where they talk about just like connecting with the world. Like it makes you feel like your problems aren't the only problems, and there's just a bigger world out there that you're a part of, and it kind of gives you hope. And so I think, we both miss that aspect of connecting with each other and just connecting with the world and new people.
Right.
So I'm glad that we're here. And
I've mentioned this before, just on that same topic, though, is a lot of our guests have been people much more in line with your demographic than mine, which
yeah,
to me, is a positive.
yeah,
I talk to people of my
for me.
demographic. Yeah, right. No, I talk to my demographic all day, every day in my mediations. I'm talking to lawyers and clients and people who generally are my demographic in the broad sense.
Yeah.
So to be able to talk to a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old, an entrepreneur, someone who is in sports, someone who's branching out to in terms of a new aspect of their life, to me, that is really cool for me.
We're keeping you young. We're keeping you in the know.
It's a struggle.
Yeah.
No,
we're doing well. But we're back. And part of, I know people kind of use New Year kind of resolutions as, some people hate them, some people love them. I'm somewhat indifferent or in between, but I do think, hey, it is the start of a new year. It is the start of some new chapters for me personally, and I want to make a concerted effort to build this into each of our schedules. So yes, I will still continue to push to have guests. I have a few people waiting just to schedule. I really, I hunt people down. They'll say yes, and then I'll hit them up. They'll say, oh, next week. I'll hit them up next week. They'll say, oh, next month. I'll hit them. Like, guests, I'm coming. But regardless of if we have a guest, we're gonna make time to do these because they're important.
Yeah, speaking of New Year's resolutions, since it's early January, I'm not a resolution person. I think your mom is. She likes to, every New Year's Eve, she talks about resolutions. But I can't think of a New Year's resolution that I've ever made that I've ever kept.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've never had grand New Year's resolutions, and maybe you shouldn't make grand ones. You should make little resolutions. But, I've had resolutions about stretching more.
Yeah, you definitely have not followed through with that.
Trying to connect with more old friends, and I haven't done a great job with that. But I'm not a big resolution guy, and I think to the extent I've made New Year's resolutions, I haven't really been very good at following through with them.
Well, do you think, what do you think that's a product of? Do you think it's, New Year's is just a time where people pick to do things but then don't follow through, or is it the actual, you're doing it throughout the year, so it's not as important on that date?
I think it's as simple as, I'm not very good at keeping New Year's resolutions. I tend to be a creature of habit. I'm a real creature of habit.
But when can you start a habit then?
Well, that's true. I can develop new habits.
Yeah.
That's
hard. We'll see. I'm a little bit kind of in between on them, because I do think it is possible. It's nice to have set goals and kind of, like I mentioned, a way to create a habit, a way to start a habit. I do believe you could start whatever, middle of the year. Some people have different levels of discipline, so that's tough. But for me personally, New Year's has always felt, or at least when I've been of age to really take New Year's seriously, or resolutions, it's always in the off season,
right?
Where, I have some break of time. And most recently in the last 6 years, I've been a professional soccer player. And so that's like your time to recharge. You're about to start a new preseason. So it is kind of the start of a, new chapter, whether or not it's in the calendar year or not.
Right.
And so inherently you kind of look at the year. So for me personally, I actually kind of like it as an opportunity to set goals, set intentions. I like to have kind of tangible goals, like, meditate 5 times a week, something like that, where it's like, that's measurable. And then something that's a bit more abstract, like, network more with creatives or something, where that's not something that you could check off a tally list, but it's something that's a bit more conceptual. And I like to keep a piece of paper, write those down in the beginning of the year. And I still have ones from 2021, 2020. And it is cool to see some of my evolution of like some of these intentions and goals of really like, following through with them, like a bit more of the abstract ones, especially like pushing myself creatively and in the networking sense. I feel like I've been able to do those, and it's opened up a lot of new doors, which I think is kind of cool.
So it sounds like
I'm pro.
you're pretty decent at, if call them
Okay.
resolutions, call them goals, but you're pretty good at actually setting them and following through, better than me.
I don't know if we need to compare it like
Well,
that.
I've been very open that I'm not very good at setting goals, and I'm not very good to the extent I set them at following through. Sounds like you follow through to a
I,
large degree.
I mean, I guess you could say that.
I'm wondering
I,
if that's a function of just our different personalities or a function of our different ages and where we are in life.
I was going to say, I think it's a much more a factor of where we are in life. And I mean, you've been in a career for 30 years plus,
Correct.
and you're not seeking a lot of new, or I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm still very much trying to kind of find something that will bring me passion and a livelihood for my life. And I think it's maybe just a different mentality.
Yeah, I think, if life is a journey, you're much earlier in your journey than I am in mine, obviously. And so probably changes your mindset in terms of what you want to do along the way of your journey. You got a lot more steps to take on your journey than I do.
That's one way. That's one
Not
way.
that I'm
I'll
done or
say,
anything.
yeah.
I'm not.
Jeez,
It's not over.
we're getting real right now.
Well,
No,
it's one of the things I say in a mediation when people are in a negotiation and we're at the beginning stages of a negotiation and the parties are really far apart and they're frustrated because one side is really high in their demands and one side's really low in their offers, and it's very early. And when someone's, oh, they're so high or they're so low, I tell people, life, we're all kind of headed for the same destination eventually, I think. So in life, it's not so much the destination that counts, it's the journey that counts. It's what you do along the way to that final destination that we're all headed to. In negotiations, it's really the destination that counts, the ultimate number that the parties can agree upon.
a little
That's
different.
really all that matters. So if the journey is tortuous, if it's long and hard and slow and painful, yeah, that's not great. But if you get to the right destination at the end, if you get to a settlement of your case, who cares about the journey? So, you know, you're more in the beginning of your journey or towards the middle. I'm, towards the middle.
Towards the middle as well. So
but
yeah,
but life is great. So,
we got there.
yeah.
Wow. No, I mean, yeah, I think that was well said.
Remember, we were listening to the end of a. I wanted you to listen to
Yeah,
the end
my
of.
dad in our car ride to wine country yesterday for actually something you could give a little bit of info on.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll say that. We're going to wine country for a table read where my dad is starring in his first feature as an actor. But yeah, my dad put on the ending segment of a podcast just randomly throughout the drive, put a break in the music, maybe just switch up the vibe, and it talked about some real shit. Just the fact that, we're all have a limited time on earth and nothing is permanent, and it's important to live life to the fullest. And it was very, yeah, very, you know, real, and talking about this perspective of life and how to approach it, and really to take it for what it is and make the most of it,
It,
because
it
it goes by fast. I
yeah,
think that
no,
was the thing that
that was his. That's what he
it
said.
goes
It
by
goes by
fast.
fast.
Yeah.
It was a guy who is probably in his 40s or so, and he was reflecting back about how he was thinking about, how old am I going to be when it becomes 2000 and what will I accomplish? And he goes, I can remember that as clear as day, having those memories of the year 2000 coming upon us. And now we're at 2023 and it's gone by so fast. How do we get from 2000 and thinking about, I'm going to be 22 when it's 2000. Now it's 2023. It's gone by so
Yeah.
fast. So you got to just embrace life. I mean, it's cliche, right? But it's really important to keep that in mind.
No, I mean, holy shit, like I'm about to be 30 in a little over a year. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
I feel like I'm a kid. I still am a kid, but
Well, it's odd for me when people say you have kids. Yeah. How old are they? They're 31 and
31 and
28.
28. Yeah.
That just not does not roll off the tongue.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Well, here we are, or maybe just for our own therapeutic purposes, it'd be good for us to talk about what our journey of life has been like over this last 6 month hiatus, whatever the time was that we haven't potted since. And I'll speak for me personally first. You know, to keep it a buck, it's been a tough, been it's not it's been a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster of a 6 months or so, just to kind of give you guys some context. And I know we glossed over some of these things throughout the pods of this year where, I picked up an injury and played through some pain and it got worse. And then I rehabbed and got back into training, felt some more pain, went out again. And, essentially I was dealing with this injury the entire year. I'm still currently dealing with it, pursuing different medical opinions. I just am still not healthy. I still am not playing since the last game of the season. I have not been able to play soccer for fun, go on a run, do a diversity of workouts that I would normally do. I've been going to physical therapy weekly. I've done steroid injections in my pubic bone. I've done steroid injections in my gracilis, which is like your groin. And I've done rest. I've done a lot of things, and it has not gotten to a point where I can compete at a professional level. And that's been a challenge in itself. Just trying to get back on the field, also add into the different context of it was really my only opportunity to prove that I deserve another year on my contract.
Right.
Nothing is guaranteed in this league as a professional athlete. And, I felt that I needed to play to continue my career. And unfortunately, I didn't get an opportunity to play. I really tried to push through pain to do so. I took I took prescription anti-inflammatory meds for 3 months to end the season, just to give myself any sort of chance to get on the field. Even while taking those meds, I was still in pain, not able to, be myself fully. And so, yeah, it was cool to be on the field for our last game of the season, which unfortunately we lost to the ultimate champions. But I mean, yeah, I don't want to go too into this right now because I want to talk more in depth about it later. But yeah, that was the last game of my professional soccer career. And yeah, I'm transitioning into other things right now. And that's also been a complex time dealing with, somewhat of a shift of identity, really, and just kind of all I've known my whole life. And now kind of moving into this new just phase and just like embracing some of my other interests and passions and really kind of figuring out what I want to do with my life.
Well, you've been very involved. One of the things that you have been involved
yes.
in that I've been involved in is the neighborhood sports club.
Yes, this is actually, I would much rather go into more detail about this. But yeah, also probably the thing that saved me this year, honestly, was the launch of this business that I've co-founded with two of my best friends, Dylan and Jordan. It's called Neighborhood Sports Club. You may have seen me talking about it on social media, or I hope you have, because I've been pushing it on there hard and wearing it all the time. But yeah, that is something that's been really a silver lining of this year, and something that I've been able to use as an outlet in a lot of ways. But it's a really exciting business, and I think I've mentioned it on the pod before. Our vision to open a facility with a couple small-sided fields, a cafe bar, retail space, studio space, essentially the cultural and community hub for the soccer community. And looking to do that here in Oakland, but also we have our own branded merchandise. We have pop-ups that we've been doing this last year that's been really cool to grow this community. We now are activating weekly pickup. We're looking to activate a league soon, potentially have some sort of brick and mortar in the next few months. We have our biggest collection yet coming out very soon, which hint, hint, he may be starring in a production involving that coming up. And
it's called a teaser. right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. We also just kind of tease Neighborhood Stories, which is a new content series that we're going to be doing where we're highlighting people in our community. Really, this business is an opportunity to combine a lot of my passions, whether it's soccer, business, creative side of things, clothing, community. It really is it feels like a calling and something that I'm really excited to continue growing and kind of using as a vehicle to do some of these really kind of cool, impactful things in the soccer world and the soccer culture. Really, we're looking to impact the culture. And Dad, you have been, you know, one, our lead investor, but also, I mean, like, he's helping us move everything for the pop-ups. You are literally our biggest supporter in this, and you've had front row seats to everything, and
Right.
it's not possible without you, honestly. And yeah, I appreciate you this last year. I hope you know that.
No, I do not know that, but
As much as I can be, in my own world, I really do hope you understand how much I appreciate you
no,
this
I do,
last
I
year.
do. And it was going to be one of the things that I mentioned about the last half of 2022 has been, there's been a lot going on, but one of the highlights for me is being able to help you and Dylan and Jordan, your partners in the neighborhood sports club, just helping out in any way I can, which is pretty much doing kind of grunt work and helping
Yeah.
set up events and helping move stuff and helping store stuff. To me, that's really fun. I work with my brain all day, every day, seems like.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy just being a helper, just doing some physical work that allows you and Dylan and Jordan to kind of do your events and do your thing that's public facing. I like
Yeah.
to be behind the scenes, just helping out in any way I can. That's actually fun for me.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly fun to be doing physical, just
Those are your those have been your
they've been
workouts.
my workouts, and it's good physically for me to do that stuff. But I also think it's mentally therapeutic or just fun
Yeah.
to help a bunch of young folks try to start a business.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I can contribute. I'm not going to contribute creatively. I'm not going to be able to contribute in terms of the content stuff that you're doing.
Hey, you are about to be a major
I
contributing factor
right.
content wise
I
and
will.
creatively.
I guess this is the way I can help the most is just being an extra set of hands
Yeah.
and that's fun for me actually. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the thank you and it's a labor of love. It's what every parent likes doing,
Yeah.
helping their kid in any way you can.
Well, it's been fun. It's been really fun for us. Fun to have you so close by and so involved, really. Not, I mean, rarely are there kids who have their dads literally hands on helping them start a business, something literally through labor, manual labor, helping us start a business. And yeah, it's been, you know, like I said, a challenging year, but also a really fun and exciting kind of 6 months with the things that have been happening with Neighborhood Sports Club. And we feel like we're really on this exciting path, developing a really authentic brand and a real community of people looking to, do things soccer related, whether it's fashion, whether it's watching games, whether it's having a coffee and just creating that vibe where people can all gather and embrace why we all love soccer and football.
Right. And the fun part for me is I was never an entrepreneur. I've worked for a law firm and then a big mediation company. So I never did anything entrepreneurial. So it's again fun for me. It's a new experience for me to watch a bunch of relatively young guys who have an idea, a concept, and literally taking it from the ground floor and trying to pursue a passion and an idea. And it's really fun to watch.
Yeah.
And sort of it's an insider's view as to how to grow a business.
Yeah, it's definitely a learning process. I'm curious to our listeners, viewers, if there's any interest in learning about our process of growing this business as a startup, of being behind the scenes, gaining more insight to that, because I would be open to talking about it. I really do have always loved the business side of growing startups and kind of that world, and now combining that with things that I'm actually passionate about makes it even more fun. But yeah, we are growing a startup. It is very much the startup vibe where we are doing sales, we are doing marketing, we are doing accounting, we are doing literally everything ourselves. And so it's a great learning experience, but also, is a reality check into how difficult it is to start a business, to grow a business, to have a, both a digital and a physical business. They are working with the city, working with tax implications, talking about different manufacturers and all. There's just a lot. There's a lot. Also, we have a very, well, I don't think it's complex in terms of our business model, but there's a lot of different pillars to our business, in the current state that it's in, not having a physical space, and then also in the journey looking for physical real estate and just the ability to activate in a real location. That's a different aspect to what we're doing with our content, what we're doing with our apparel, where we can send that all over the world, or it can be seen all over the world, while also making an impact in our community, which is something that's at our core as a business. So
yeah, it's interesting to watch when Dylan and Jordan, I don't know, it was a year, maybe 2 years ago, probably 2 years ago, came up with this idea of a neighborhood sports club, of some local place for Oakland soccer community to meet and hang out and not only play but to socialize. I thought, okay, that's kind of a cool idea, but it probably remained just a cool idea. It will unlikely ever come to fruition because a lot of grand plans and ideas kind of die on the vine. So I never really thought, to be totally candid, that you'd get this far, frankly, because it is such a big undertaking. Yeah. It's not like, let's open up a little store and sell t-shirts, which is kind of a big idea in and of itself, but your plans are much broader and grander than that. And I thought, wow, they are taking a big bite out of the apple here, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to take patience and perseverance and persistence. And I didn't know whether the three of you kind of had that in you, frankly, because you're three soccer players who are now going in a different direction, even though it's soccer related. Yeah, it's so different than what you've ever done. Any of you have ever done before. So I'm pretty proud of you guys. Very proud of you guys.
Well, let's check in now. You spoke about what your thoughts were a year and a half ago. Now, how do you see the vision and the same ambition from us? Does it seem more realistic now that we've been able to execute what we have in the short span of our time?
It does seem more realistic, yes, but no, to be honest, finding a brick and mortar facility in Oakland that suits your needs, that you can afford, is a tremendous undertaking.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, you see it right now with the Roots trying to find a stadium. You've seen it with other business of this scale looking to do similar things, but we are not discouraged. We are very hopeful. We are having actually a meeting with I don't know if this needs to be said, but we are, long story short, very much still on the search and have a lot of very intriguing leads that we are pursuing. But we are running short on time here, Dad.
Okay.
We will, let's give the people a little bit of a teaser. Also, yeah, we will be back on the pod soon. I'm not sure when I'm going to release this, maybe early February, and we can continue to expand on all these subjects just weekly in our just check-ins, whether or not we have a guest or not. We're back. The boys are back.
Excited to be back.
Love you, Dad.
Marathon Minute. Love you too, Max.
Yeah, this is fun.
Good to be back.
It's good to be back.
Your microphone.
Yeah. Okay.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Talk soon.